gateway to East Africa. Your gateway to East Africa.
From policy to innovation, from esports to golf, SportsBiz Africa 2025 lit up Kigali, Rwanda. From policymakers to investors, athletes to innovators, the forum brought everyone under one roof to reimagine the future of African sports.
Rwanda is a perfect demonstration of how to win.
New ideas and technologies took center stage, proving Africa's sporting future goes beyond the pitch.
We want to position sport as a strategic asset for Africa, and we believe that discussions like these can help us achieve that.
The sports industry is projected to grow faster than GDP in Africa.
And for the first time, the SportsBiz Golf Championship blended competition with connection. On this episode of In Focus, we bring you the highlights, the voices, and the moments that define SportsBiz Africa 2025, only on EAMG TV. Hello and welcome to In Focus on EAMG TV. My name is JD Odinga, and today we bring you a special feature from Kigali, Rwanda, the host of the second edition of the SportsBiz Africa Forum that took place at the Kigali Convention Center. In 2024, the inaugural edition made waves across the continent, spotlighting sports as more than just entertainment, but as a driver of business, innovation, and growth. This year, the forum returned even bigger, bringing together policymakers, investors, athletes, and innovators under one roof to reimagine the future of African sport. To officially set the stage, the forum opened with keynote remarks from Christian Gakwaya, CEO of Rwanda Events, highlighting the opportunities and challenges ahead of African sports.
SportsBiz Africa is more than an event. It's a platform that is put together to drive sport as a transformative tool for the continent. The forum recognizes the immense potential that the continent has, not only as economic growth, as a potential of economic growth, but also for global recognition of our continent on the map. Sports Africa brings together investors, policymakers, thought leaders in this industry of sport, professionals, players, administrators, young Africans, to discuss and have bold and constructive discussions about how we can move sport to the next level. Last year, when we launched this initiative, we had over 400 participants who joined us, and the first edition's focus was on education. We launched an education program where more than 150 young Africans took part of a masterclass program delivered in partnership with Johan Cruyff Institute from Barcelona, one of the biggest known education institutes in the sports. And this year, we didn't stop there. We now took it to another level where 25 Africans were selected. And for the whole year of 2025, they have been trained and given the best knowledge possible in the sports management. SportsBiz Africa, as it was said, is more than a gathering. It's a platform, it's a movement, and it's a commitment. We want to position sport as a strategic asset for Africa, and we believe that discussions like these can help us achieve that. There is an African saying that a hand that gives is always above the hand that receives. I think it's time for Africa to stop being the hand that receives and now be the hand that gives.
Why sports? why should we care about sports and why should we invest in sports? First of all, in Africa, the sports industry is projected to grow faster than GDP in Africa. Today, GDP in Africa is growing at between 3 and 4%, depending on which study you're looking at. But sports industry is growing at 8%, which means the potential for growth is actually faster than the average GDP growth rate. And so that's opportunity. Investing in the sports industry with an average growth of 8% is real economic opportunity for all of us. But also we've heard about the size of the sports industry. Even though small at 0.5% of GDP, as Minister Nelly said, what we're seeing is that it's actually growing. Today, it's estimated at $12 billion of GDP, the size of sports industry in Africa, but we expect that number to grow by 2035, which is 10 years from now, to $20 billion. That is why sports is a compelling investment opportunity. Now, what does that mean for us in basketball? I talked about BAL. Just the first 4 seasons of BAL, we did a study. What is the impact that BAL is having on the economies that are touching BAL? And today we only play in 4 countries, as you know. We don't play in all countries in Africa. Our goal is to grow that in the future. But in those 4 countries and maybe 12 teams, 4 countries hosting, 12 teams playing the BAL, we saw that we had contributed $250 million, which is $250 million to GDP in Africa. We also found that we had contributed nearly 40,000 jobs had been linked to BAL. Now, if BAL can contribute in 4 years $250 million and create close to 40,000 jobs, imagine all of us putting those numbers together. We bring all the different disciplines together. Sports can actually transform Africa, and this is why we believe in sports.
I trust that the conversations initiated here last year were followed by concrete actions, hence all of us meeting again here. And we're again going to deepen collaboration, explore new avenues to further advance the development of African and sport in our continent. The global sport industry or market was valued at close to $480 billion by 2024, is expected to reach more than $630 billion in 2028. That is only in 3 years. But the shocking reality is that the Africa sports represent only, in Africa, sports represent only 0.5% of the GDP, compared to 2% of the GDP in other parts of the world. So the question we will be discussing on is why? And how can we also be at 2 or 5 or 10%? Why would we stay at 0.5%? Some of the challenges that we must all know or that we know, which will be part of our discussions and beyond, is that we still have challenge like inadequate financing in sport industry. Limited expertise is also one of that, and also major infrastructure gap. These are some of the challenges and areas that the sport industry in Africa is still facing that should be subject of our discussions and also collaboration as we address that. And the aim being that we move from the 0.5 to pass even the 2% that the rest of the world has already achieved. So we have no time to wait. It's time to get to it, and we have a lot to catch up. We need to create wealth for our industries and economic transformation. Let's all focus on that $1 that is going to generate 124 by investing in it and by turning it to add value so that we lead to that. And secondly, let us devise solutions that will make Africa profit also, not stay at 0.5% of our GDP, but let sport contribute even more. And we will be reaching to the impact we want to have by looking at all the pillars and all the objectives we want to achieve in our economies. So I thank you very much, and I look forward to the conversations we are going to have. I urge everyone to really get deep into this, because we are the ones who have to find the solutions. We are the ones we've been waiting for. Let's get to it. Thank you.
From the main stage to the deal room, conversations focused on unlocking investment opportunities and creating sustainable sports ecosystems across Africa.
I think Rwanda is a perfect demonstration of how to win in almost everything. And I'm not just saying that. I'm not just saying that because I'm in love with the country, but I'm saying this because it is a good model and demonstration. There is no way you would want to do things in isolation. You can't say, I want to create the best sports industry and not have facilities like this one that we're in right now. Because where else would we have these conversations? And you cannot say you want to create the best sports and not have accommodation. Where are we going to sleep? If you say all teams from 10 different countries, 20 different countries in Africa come to Kigali, where are we going to sleep? So I think it all ties together, and government has to enable even investors, because most of these countries, I'll speak of my country, Lesotho, we've been in a political ICU for a very long time, and it's only now that we feel like we're really emancipated and liberated. And with that, there is action for investment. Lesotho, in terms of its topography, in terms of the landscape, in terms of the environment itself, it's just too beautiful. We have snow, like, it just comes. Even in November, it comes. And with the environment that we have, in terms of sports, it builds so much resilience because we are also highly elevated. We are the highest country elevated in Africa, I believe. And that means you can have the highest golf course in Africa. That in itself, it's a beauty. You can have skiing as a sport in Africa because we have snow. So we need to utilize different countries and platforms, but also different stakeholders to build a holistic value chain around systems. So policy should not just say, no one should just wake up and say, oh, we're going to create a policy. It should speak to what is the need, who needs this solution, how are we going to achieve it, and then you build around that, but consult with the right people.
Going back to the education side, is how do we help train those who are, peripheral to the athletes, right? Those who are, whether it's the hospitality, the sports management, how do we help them finance their education? I'd like to, give a shout out to the country of Rwanda here. I'm chairman of a company here in Rwanda that started off about 5-6 years ago, that is in the tertiary education finance space, and working with partner education institutions, and I know there's someone from Kepler here today, to help finance students who are studying courses that then lead on to employment, and they pay back during their employment. And when you think about whether it's the MICE industry, whether it's, what we're talking about here is a big ecosystem, and we need people in that ecosystem who have been trained, who have the skills to be able to earn a livelihood. So how do we train them? How do we support them? And so kudos to Tudi and Nick Bergen, the people at KFC who worked with us. That company that started off here, set up by a South African lady, is now working in Rwanda, in South Africa, in Kenya, in Ghana, and looking to leave the continent. And I think it's a testament to what governments can do to help nurture businesses, and also a challenge to us running businesses that let's not be content to just run a business in our own country, but spread out across the continent.
At the Creators Garage and the Esports Game Fest, new ideas took shape, from AI scouting tools to fan engagement platforms. And for the very first time, the forum extended beyond the conference hall onto the fairways with the SportsBiz Africa Golf Championship and the Esports Game Fest taking place in Kigali, a unique blend of competition, connection, and celebration. To understand the real impact of SportsBiz, we turn to the voices of those in attendance.
Sport brings tourism. Sport also give employment to many people. With the sport, we are able to change the nation, and also to what I found out is sometimes in Africa we like to do sport as amateur, like something that is recreational. But going after this conference is sport can be a business that can change communities, a business that can change people. So that's my takeaway.
We were actually here complimentary by SportsBiz Forum to have a complimentary booth. So it was a very, very fantastic opportunity, and thank you so much for SportsBiz Africa for providing us an opportunity to expose ourselves to the rest of, not only just in Rwanda, but across the continent, and learning from them and meeting all these fantastic leaders in the sports industry has been an amazing opportunity.
Sports personalities was just a great idea because, you know, they've shared firsthand in terms of their experiences, in terms of their mistakes, in terms of their achievements. You know, so it was so inspiring to hear from them, especially on the issues around professional coaching, issues of retirement, you know, early planning, you know, issues of professional management of contracts. You know, those are some of the issues, even the issues around appointments in, getting the right people in the right position, and also the infrastructure.
So if you have a sports event, for example, at the stadium, a football event where you have two big clubs or national teams playing, look at the whole entire ecosystem. So from the ticketing to the crowd management, to media, to branding, all those are sections that create jobs mainly for the youth. And now what I'm seeing as shift is now those jobs becoming professions, and that's what we're advocating for with our partners that are delivering the education program. We want people to consider those as professional careers and be trained and certified to do it on the professional level, to do it with the right skills and qualification, that people can see this becoming their life career, if I can say.
As the curtains closed on the SportsBiz Africa Forum 2025, one message was clear. Sports in Africa is more than a game. It's an industry, an opportunity, and a tool for transformation. From investment to innovation, from esports to golf, and from the conversations here in Kigali will continue to shape Africa's sports future for years to come. Thank you for joining us on In Focus, and make sure to follow us on all our social media platforms and visit our website at www.emgtv.com. Until next time, my name is Jody Odinga. Stay informed, stay inspired.
What if your child's first step into school was their very first step into the future? At Akons International School, every classroom is a launchpad. Every child uniquely known. Every lesson a spark of discovery. Our world-class facilities, including the guided reading program, don't just build skills, they build confidence. From sports to science, from music to languages, your child is never boxed in. Clean spaces, happy faces, global minds rooted in care. Because at Akons International School, wellness, discipline, and joy go hand in hand. We offer Cambridge International program from early years to A-levels. Choosing a school isn't just an academic decision. It's a decision about trust, care, and possibility. Imagine more for your child. Choose us today. Because at Akons International School, we inspire and empower. Welcome to Akons International School, Kigali.